Hello and welcome to this discussion on your IP, your future with Creative First. Our first speaker today is veteran film director, scriptwriter and producer Madhur Bandharkar. Initially, Madhur worked at a video cassette library, which gave him access to a large collection of movies and the opportunity to self-learn filmmaking. After working with many filmmakers, he made his directorial debut with Shakti. He is known to create realistic films that receive critical acclaim and box office success. His film Chandni Bar won him his first national award. He then went on to win two more national awards for his films Page 3 and Traffic Signal. In 2009, Madhur was awarded the Ganga Sharan Singh Award by the HRD Ministry for his contribution to Hindi cinema. In 2014, he received the Raj Kapoor Smriti Award by the Government of Maharashtra for his excellent contribution to Indian cinema. He has been nominated as a society member of the Satyajit Ray Film and Television Institute by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, and he has been awarded a Padma Shri, the fourth highest civilian award in 2016. Madhur, thank you for your time and welcome to the discussion with Creative First.
Thanks. That's a great honor to be on.
Our second speaker, Jamshed, is an experienced counsel and founder of the International Legal Alliance, a virtual global network of lawyers. He has a demonstrated history of working in the law practice industry and skilled in various types of litigation, international law, media, and entertainment law. Jamshed is a member of the Bombay Bar Association, the IP Rights Practitioners Association, Maximum Lawyer Group, and associate member of the Canadian Bar Association. He is also an advisory board member of the South Asian Fashion Week at Vancouver and the Vancouver International South Asian Film Festival. Jamshed, welcome to this discussion. Madhur, you're a veteran in the industry. Tell us and our young creative professionals viewing this about the very beginning of your story, which started as at a video cassette library. How did the dream to become a writer, director, producer come to fruition from such humble beginnings?
I don't know why you call me veteran. I think I've just done last 20 years I'm doing films, and I think I have a long way to go, and lots of subjects, lots of movies are there to be told the story to the people, and I think my journey has been a great journey. I mean to say, I started as a school dropout, and then I became a video cassette library boy, delivery boy, literally going to door to door from all sects of people, from all walk of life people, from the slum to the bungalow to the skyscraper, everywhere, and including some people from the film industry. I used to deliver video cassette. And the journey has been great. I think I've been a great learner of cinema. Watched movie like so many times, all kind of movies. I was influenced from Prakash Mehra, Shivash Ghai, Manmohan Desai cinema, or the South cinema which came, and a lot of other filmmakers like K. Balachandra, Balu Mahendra South, and in Bengal, Satyajit Ray Dada, and Mrinal Da, all these filmmakers have been a great influence to my journey into cinema. So I watched all kind of cinema. I never differentiate. The filmmakers I was influenced while making, when I in 80s and 90s, I was usually influenced by filmmakers like Shivash Ghai, Prakash Mehra, Manmohan Desai, Vijay Anand, and films like in Bengal cinema, Satyajit Ray, Mrinal Da, Mrinal Sen, Ritik Ghatak, or I've seen all the South cinema. If you say, I was K. Balachandra, Balu Mahendra, a lot of filmmakers who I used to be very inspired and very influenced by this cinema. And I really loved the kind of storytelling it was, be it in Mumbai also, we have that time, Sham Benegal cinema or Govind Nihalani cinema. I used to watch all kind of movies. As a movie goer, I used to watch movies in theatre. Apart from that, I used to watch movies on video cassettes also because I had the access of video cassettes. Well, I started career from 2 to 3 video cassettes to long, 2000 video cassette I had in my uh, kitty. So I had a great access to, and I was not only a delivery boy to deliver video cassettes. I used to watch movies. I used to watch all the dynamics of the movie. I used to sometimes see what kind of, why this song is like that, why the scene is shot like that. And at the same time, I used to watch a lot of shootings also in Mumbai. Uh, Fortunately, I had access because a lot of filmy people used to deliver video cassettes. So I had that opportunity to go on the sets, see behind the scene. So I remember watching lots of shooting in teenagers. I used to go. So I should know what is the crane, what is the trolley. All these aspects of cinema which a common person maybe not have access to. So I used to, when I watched the movie, I used to see, okay, this is the trolley, this is camera going forward, or the crane coming down. I used to see, okay, this must have taken from the crane. So all these aspects I learned while watching movies on video cassettes and watching movie in theater. I've been a cinema buff from that time as a child till today. Also, I have the same love towards cinema. And my cinema is all kind of cinema. I watch all kind of cinema. It is nothing to be like that. Okay, this is a cinema I want to watch, or this cinema I don't watch. It's nothing like that. Any good filmmaker, any good story, whoever made, and then today you have Netflix, you have Amazon, you have so many OTT platforms. So it can be any regional language also. So I keep watching movies.
The internet has made films and video very accessible. What is your stance on piracy in these times from a filmmaker's perspective? And how should Indian lawmakers tackle this issue?
See, piracy definitely is a menace, and I think it should be handled more stringently. It is very necessary because I feel lot of our revenue, the producers, which they feel uh, uh, they should get, are being taken by this piracy of new movies. Like some new movie get released in the evening. Sometime I remember some years back. Now I don't see. There would be DVDs on the street. People are selling DVDs. I'm talking of 4 5 years back. But now also I know a lot of people who download from torrent or some other. I'm not so technically sound on these things, so I don't know. But I heard about these things. People watching it on their mobile sets, and So I feel that's sad because as a filmmaker, we put so much to it, and so many hard work goes of all the people involved with the film, and then suddenly we see the film is watched on the telephone, I'm say on the cell. So I think that's really sad. So I think there should be more stringent law for the piracy.
Jamshed, talking about stringent laws, what are the remedies available for violation of intellectual property rights?
I think, as Mr. Bandhari very rightly said, I think far more needs to be done than what it is today. So typically, you have civil remedies. That means you can go to a court of competent jurisdiction and get an injunction. Of course, there is also criminal. You can file a criminal case in the sense you can have their sort of. Now that today the difficulty is, since everything is on the net. I mean, what are you going to go and search and seize? I mean, what is the police going to search and seize? I mean, yeah, it's a real problem, and I think this is an international problem. I mean, this is nothing unique to our Indian situation. And I think we need a worldwide solution. And I'll give you a very fine example. I mean, there was a particular program which was being recorded and for a television series, and it was an interview actually. And I think within the next 1 hour, somebody sitting in the audience actually just put it out and calling it a curtain raiser. And you can imagine the kind of anguish that the producers actually had. And then when we went to court, we found that the the domain name and the URL belonged to somebody in Queensland, Australia. And so we had to get a John Doe order against them, unknown person, this, that. So, and then of course finally we got YouTube and Google and everybody to block them. But all that, to rush to court. Court is, of course, it's busy with so many different things. And so the effective remedy really lies if we have a global system now, and especially since it's on the net. And I think this needs to be done. And just as the music industry faced this a while ago, I think today with OTT and other things, it has to be very stringent and extremely stringent penalties. That if somebody is found, their license should be cancelled. Apart from other things, they should be prohibited from doing the business because that's the only way that you can stop them. Because at the end of the day, it's a creative person. The only thing that he has is what is his product. So I think Mr. Bandhari is absolutely right. It should be done in much more stringent fashion than what it is today.
Madhur, a lot of your work focuses on realism and in a way presents an unfiltered view of our society's underbelly. What are the biggest challenges you have faced while working to present these stories?
Yeah, always my movies comes into some or the other controversy. From Chandni Bar to Hindu Sarkar when I made on 2017. So a lot of people have things that Madhur shows very real films and he shows the fact and so people feel uncomfortable and it's in every field, be it Chandni Bar or a corporate world or the pastry world or the fashion world or a traffic signal world or when I made Heroine. So a lot of people got upset from my film fraternity itself with me. You showed some dark side of us and you showed some real incidents and there were some parallels with the actors which were there. I mean to say, which I showed them, So this problem is always there. And last movie when I made Hindu Sarkar in 2017, I remember the political party got upset with me. Because I was showing the dark side. I mean, this is the real side, I would say, of the emergency 1975, what happened. So my films have always has these things. Madhur shows the reality, Madhur shows the true thing, and people do feel uncomfortable about it. My issue is them, when they watch, they read books, they have no issue. When they watching some documentary, they have no issue. When they watching some news capsules, which all these things are there, they have no issues. People write blogs about it, they don't have issues. But the minute you make into films, so then the things arise and then they start weighing it. What is this thing? Why are you showing this dark side? Why are you showing this thing? Madhur Bandharkar, why you keep making this cinema? You remove topics like, आप एक topic निकाल के और दिखाते हो. But that's my kind of cinema and I should be happy because for me, I'm a storyteller and I love the aspect of telling stories to the people of whoever cinema lovers are there. Be it pastry, Chandigarh, corporate fashion, traffic signal, Dil To Bacha Hai Ji, or jail on the under trials. So I feel the reality is there, which I show. And as a storyteller, I feel complete because for me, what happens to the society, in fact, we have to filter also. We have to make moderate also screenplay. So it doesn't come as too real also. Because we have the censor board, we censor the film, we go through the whole censor process and we have to comply with the censor boards, what they want, what they don't want. So that is also there. And when I see today OTT platform and the kind of stuff they say, so I look, okay, they see how things have changed now. OTT platform really pushes the envelope and they show the real, so many stuff are being made. So I just feel but my thing always is like that. My audience always say, Madhur, you don't change the kind of cinema you make. We stick to it. And my success ratio is very good. I'm very happy with the kind of movies I make. I make movies in a very budgeted way because I know my craft very well, and I never go over budget with my films. So even if some movies have done little less, so it's a break-even film. It's not lost film. So we know we have made money. So my producers are happy. I'm happy, and that is very necessary because I don't over budget my film. That is the mantra which I always keep.
That's great. Jamshed, two questions for you. One, as Madhur was saying, a filmmaker like him makes realistic stories, and often and on these things land in court. Somebody files a case. Is there a legal remedy? And two, what is the importance of script review and other due diligences involved when making a film?
Sure. So, I mean, I think the first thing we all need to absolute basic is that we are all in India covered under the Contract Act and in the Copyright Act. So your contract for service. So again, it depends. Is the script writer? I mean, is it his original script that he's given it to you, or have you employed someone that is a contract for service? And then accordingly, the script is evaluated, because very often than not, and you must have seen, so many cases where even at the time of the release of the film, someone has got up and said that, hey, hang on, this was my script, and this is something that now the courts, becoming extremely, tough on this, saying that, look here, if you had to come to court, because by that time the producer and the whole gamut, that is including, you have to take the artist, the other, the director and everyone into account. They've put in their sweat and toil and importantly money. And then of course, if there's a studio that is got involved in it, so that is now raised in the court's mind, and quite often they refuse an injunction, which even according to me is the right thing to do. But how do you evaluate it? I think from the legal perspective, yes, you have to do your due diligence. You have to ensure that it doesn't belong, because today copyright is a bundle of rights. The first owner is always the author of the script. I mean, he could have written it on on sheets of paper and stored it somewhere, and then so getting that. And acquiring those rights are absolutely important. So the other thing, of course, you have to get indemnities, guarantees from all of them. That suppose if a third party, sues, then for no fault of yours as producer or director, that should not come into the problem. The other important aspect is what one should do is to try and see today to bring in insurance for these kind of things, because at the end of the day, someone going to court and stalling your film, for defense costs today, I believe it is possible to actually get insurance for the entire project, and that is something that filmmakers must consider. Not only within India, but internationally, of course, it's compulsory. But even in India, I think that's the way forward.
Right. Madhur, many of your films have been showcased internationally, distributed internationally. Tell us about your experience and also the importance of showcasing these films in international markets and film festivals.
Well, I think it is very essential for any filmmaker if his films, apart from India, being watched in other countries. It's definitely encouragement, and I have had the privilege to attend a lot of film festivals. My movies have been screened, I mean to say, very well. And sometimes there's they showcase three films also of mine, where so I feel great by going to apart from I'm releasing the film internationally. That is also great, where Indian diaspora watches the movie. But in festival, it is very necessary to interact with people from different country, and you have all kind of people. I think festival it's very necessary because we watch their movies, they watch our movies, so there's a good interaction with them, and there's sometimes beautiful movie made in a very small budget, which is potentially content driven and performance driven by the actor. So the note exchanging over there, people talk to about your films. Your films have been showcased. They looked India's perspective how it is, like I remember when I had my 3 films were shown in Cairo Film Festival some years back. So they were very shocked because I remember there was fashion, there was traffic signal, and I think page 3 was there. So they couldn't believe it. The same guy who made traffic signal made fashion. So it was very contrasting film. So all the directors, first they saw traffic signal, they thought, my God, how this world is so real. They showed, beggars, people on the street, and the whole system, how they operate on the street. And suddenly they saw fashion, and they said, it's a contrasting film which where you saw completely high end. And they couldn't believe it. The same filmmaker had directed 2 contrasting films. So I personally feel so, okay, when we make films like that, it is very necessary to have, because one, you reach the global audience, one, you increase your audience over there by showcasing your film over there. At the same time, you are learning so much over there. Can be a masterclass of some cinematographer or a director or an actor, or watching their movies also in the film festival. That's great amount of satisfaction as a filmmaker when you go abroad and you interact with the festival for 8 to 10 days is there or 6 days is there. When you go to, that's a good bonding among the filmmakers over there. And when you're sitting on a dinner with them or having lunch with them, so you exchange notes, you talk about how difficult it was, and sometimes we watch the movie and you want to know after the film with the director how he must have taken this shot, what was this thing, in terms of the screenplay also. So it is necessary as a filmmaker to be interacting in film festival and to be part of it. I think it's very essentially, because filmmaking is such a thing. You always keep learning. You have to keep reinventing. You cannot say I am omnipotent in this filmmaking or I am ultimate now. Nobody can touch me. It's not like that, because technology changes, narrative changes, and filmmaking changes. So every day for us also is a new learning.
Right. Madhur, talking about reinvention, you're working on a film called Lockdown, and we just wanted you to talk more about it. And do you see that as a theatrical release or an OTT release? And, anything that you can shed light upon?
Well, I made this movie in last year when my lockdown was open that time. I just got that window of 2 months. And when it was in 2020, the whole lockdown we seen with so proximity, I just felt it, why not make a film on the lockdown, what happened during the lockdown, especially the first lockdown. It was completely new for not for Indian, for the world, for the global world. And I felt it was necessary to tell the story. So I wrote it, me and a writer wrote during the whole pandemic. And luckily we got that window to shoot on in last year, in February, March, we shot the film. And it has Pratik Babbar, Sai Tamankar, Shweta Basu Prasad, Ahana Kumra, and Prakash Berwadi, very talented actor from South. And I just felt this movie has to show. So there's a very different strata of society which it is there. One is a migrant worker and his wife going to their village. Then one is Kamatipura, where we show the sex worker, how they survived during the pandemic. That's played by Shweta Basu Prasad. Then there's Ahana Kubra, who's an air hostess, and her journey about how an air hostess survived, I would say, during the pandemic, what happened. And there's one person, Prakash Bilwadi, who's a middle class family and who is lonely in his house and he wants to go to meet his daughter who's pregnant in Hyderabad. So it comprises 4 stories, different stories, and how this is not an anthology. Okay, one story gets over, second start or third start. It's not like that. It is 4 stories simultaneously going on, and how the story merges. That's the beauty of this film. And it's a very docudrama memoirs of what happened during the first pandemic. It's a very tight budget film, and we just made it because we thought, okay, this is the right subject to make. And I have this thing to make real world. So it's inspired of a lot of true events. What we saw during the pandemic, what we read about them. So it's loosely based on the real life incidents of common man people during that time. So now, right now, I don't know when, if we still have to plan. because things have started moving right now, so we have still taken not call. We will release in the theater or we'll release in the OTT platform. So in coming 2-3 months after April, we will take a decision.
Sure, we're all waiting with bated breath to watch it. Just a quick question again for you. What are the best practices one should follow to protect your IP internationally, and also from an originality point of view? You know, a lot of filmmakers would possibly want to cover the subject that Madhur sir just said about the pandemic. So how does it work legally?
So, as far as the originality is concerned, as I basically told you, I think the contracts are the only way to actually protect your originality, and you must ensure that and I think this is from whether you're a script writer, whether you're the director or the producer. I think watertight or in the crypto world, what you call smart contracts is I think the way forward. You have to have these which are very, very not only watertight but extremely enforceable contracts. And another thing that I think we see a little less in India is the use of mediation and arbitration to actually resolve these issues. Because in my opinion, except for the copyright aspect where you have to no choice to go to court, I think other aspects can and should be resolved through alternate dispute resolution, because it's pointless taking the smallest thing to court, which are already overburdened, and the content is usually pretty much the same, and that's the great thing, and it's become sort of standardized world over. So I think that and you must the other aspect is your of course your apart from the payment schedule, etc., the indemnities and guarantees is again things that quite often people just gloss over. They don't look at it very seriously, but when it comes to implementation and copyright issues, these are the areas which I think protect you a lot more. And now, of course, as I said, the other aspect of insurance. I think insurance is will and has been playing a very important role worldwide, and I think it's time that we and you should just get your entire project insured. It costs little or nothing, and there are large reassurance broking companies worldwide which actually insure your project. So even if something goes wrong, you can fall back and ensure that you're not overburdened in court suits and things like that.
Right. Madhur, I wanted to understand your experience on working with co-productions, and if you've ever had film incentive, the benefits of film incentives.
There's some film which definitely has my share also, my back end also, revenue also, which are there. I think it's all depends to producer, how you deal with it and what are their terms and conditions. It varies from film to film. Some films I have IP, some film I don't have IP, or some film I have a backhand, not IP is there, but the backhand is still there till the long run. So these things are there. That and I think it's a good, because nowadays very transparent. Everything is very transparent, and like Jimmy sir said, you have to have a smart contract, which I agree with him. It is very essential to have this, and I think where we deal with corporates nowadays, and everybody is very fair and everybody is very clear cut about the deal, whatever negotiation, whatever your terms and conditions are there, that has to be. Now, sometimes I joke also. Sometimes I say the contract takes more time than the script. Sometimes the script is over and contract still we are going back and forth. Ye aisa chalo, ye aisa karo. So those things are there, which was never there. I would say. I remember those were time I remember on the phone only. We should say you are doing this film, you are locked, and with picture shuru bhi ho jati thi, and the contract would come after 1 year. So, but that was the trust. But now everything dynamics are changed. Now everything has to be paper, everything has to be in email, everything has to be written over there. So since corporate people have come to the film industry, the whole dynamics have been changed. So I think it's a fair thing, and people who want to make movies are genuine people who want to work strong, and everybody has their very own legal team and lawyers, and they sit across. We had some issues, so we sit across and we negotiate. कि चलो इसमें ये करो, इसमें ये करो, and then finally we come to a conclusion where we both parties are happy with the terms and condition, and we conclude the agreement.
So, Jamshed, tell us about the role of co-production treaties and the different types of treaties and how these could benefit filmmakers and more for independent filmmakers.
Sure. So quite often, I think there is a misnomer in the film industry and even through outsiders. So there is the official co-production, that means the treaties that have been signed between, not only one country, but you could have more than, there is a possibility of getting a third party or third country involved as well. And of course, what sometimes is called a co-production is actually a co-venture, which means like for example, the US doesn't have any official co-production treaties with anyone. So all, Hollywood and other, there are all co-ventures. So for example, say Hollywood with a South American, film company. So that falls under the term co-venture. So official co-production is actually very interesting. It happens because for the United Nations, they've said that you should have cultural exchanges between countries, and film is considered the modern method of doing so. Now, India has probably, one of the, considering its film industry, we probably have one of the least amount of co-production treaties. Canada, for example, has about 100 and odd, very close to, I think, 100 co-production treaties with countries as wide-ranging as Algeria and things like that. It was, I think, 55 when I was in Canada in 2013. Now I think it's gone, even greater. The advantage of that is that your movie is actually then considered an original film of both. For example, if you take India and Canada, then it's considered an Indian film in India and a Canadian film in Canada, which means you can get the benefits from both sides. There are very interesting aspects in a co-production. One, of course, it's, for example, in India, it's much cheaper to shoot than say in a Western country. So then you you get tax credits, labor credits, production credits, and things like that. We still have to have a mature system here, but other countries do. You also have banks which happily give out loans to their producers on the basis of official co-production. And then also you get, for example, excise duty and other benefits through the treaty. So it's all written down. And the other very interesting part, which not too many people have actually tried, is that it's completely enforceable in your courts of law. And the government itself can be held, for example, responsible if it does not give the benefits that it has promised, because it has been signed by two countries. So I think it's a very interesting, and I think more filmmakers should explore. There are problems. For example, if one currency is sort of much more powerful than the other, then you have those issues. But I think it's all resolvable. So I think the more people use these official co-productions, the better it is.
Right. Madhur, could you give 3 essential tips that a young writer or director should follow in the context of the way the industry is shaping today?
Well, I see the best part nowadays is, earlier, some years back, we used to only make film, but nowadays, I think this is for young generation and the new filmmakers who want to be filmmakers. For them, there's a lot of platform in terms of short film, in terms of straight to digital film nowadays. I think it's absolutely great for them, and they should believe what they want to make. And even if some movies you feel is not theatrical, but you can still go to digital, and sometime in a format of web series where you feel the space is more and you get good budget or good actors also. So that is also there. I think it's a very good thing for today's generation, filmmakers, new guys who wants to turn filmmakers. I think it's absolutely great for them to showcase in every aspect of it. Web series are getting hit across the world, I mean to say. So I think you just have to hang over there, stick over there, uh, uh, be believe in your conviction, what you want to make. This is my tips. I would say, not tips. I would just suggest them. I would say, okay, what you believe in it, and you will definitely go get, because there's so many platforms and people look for nowadays. There's a lot of edgy stuff also which comes, and there are films that you feel, okay, yeah, this is the film I want to make straight for digital, and there are people platform also who back up with these kind of subjects. So I think it's absolutely great for the newcomers, and they just have to be there and believe in what they want to make. That is very essential for them.
Thank you so much, Madhur and Jamshed, for sharing such insightful thoughts for our young audience here. Thank you for this discussion with Creative First.
Thank you so much.
Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.